Welcome back, you dudes and dudettes. So this is Wake of Jitsu, and today we're going to talk about progression and Soulmask. See a lot of people out there kind of getting confused on where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to be doing, and so I've put together a little thingaroo that's going to help everybody kind of stay on track. Now, this is not set in stone. You guys can take this and do how you want, but this is just how I think would be the preferred method. That doesn't mean it's correct, but, take it with a grain of salt, and I think you guys will enjoy. So first up, we're going to go ahead and start in the Rainforest area. This is where you're going to start. You're going to start in the bottom right, behind those mass temples. You want to farm those mass temples until you are now waiting on level, rather than just the materials to upgrade those masks. Maybe even get some extras. You can make a makeshift base in this area to kind of get you by, but don't waste too much time, because right after this, we're going to go make our real base. You want to make it somewhere near that portal in the very middle of the map. Then you're going to go ahead and start collecting trismen for your base, get everything kind of automated, and next up, you're going to start farming tin and copper. Copper being to the north, tin kind of being spread out towards the southwest. Make sure to get a lot of this. It's really good XP. This is how the majority of your leveling is going to be going, is farming ore gives you the most XP. After that, make sure you kill enough rares and alligators that you're good on those materials so you can craft lots of gear for you and your tribesmen. You need to keep them geared up. They will be attacked every once in a while, and you might not be at home when they attack. Make sure you're reading your notifications so you know when to go home and when you need to go try to rescue somebody. After that, get your alpaca mounts so your travel's not that difficult, and then you're going to head up to the Holy Runes Rift Valley on the top right. Now, you do need climb to get there easily, otherwise it's going to be a hassle trying to get to this place. But essentially, you're just going to climb down from the cliff faces until you're almost to the bottom, and right where that arrow is a entrance into the waterfall. You almost won't even see it. Just know that you'll be looking at that waterfall, and at the bottom right of it will be an entrance. Do at least 1 or 2 full clears of this. Make sure you're saving corrosion tanks, because once you get into the temple part of it, there is a lot of mechanized humanoids that require those corrosion tanks so that you can do proper damage to it. You do want blunt damage for these things, so I always like claws, but you can also use hammers. After this, you want to go kill the Panther boss 1 to 5 times, depending on how much material that you want. You can even try the Berserk Panther if you feel necessary, but you probably won't at this point. At this point, you want to make sure to raid all the barracks in the area to get all the raw materials and crops so you can start growing your own crops. At this point, you should be level 25 and have excellent gear, and now you can head off to the islands. Alright, islands are a pretty quick destination stop here. You want to get all your scouting towers. You want to collect the snakes and elite alligators. Make sure to get all that material. There is a Holy Ruins River Valley here. You do not need to go there. There is iron there, but it is incredibly in small quantities. So I always prefer just go ahead and skip that. You don't need it. You want to farm that Flint Barracks on the bottom south. There's a lot of crops and materials that you need. And then you can quickly move on to the very southern tip of the main islands that we call the hills. Once you get to the hills, you'll be in the southern half of it coming from the islands. If you try to come from the northern half of it, you're going to notice that the cliffs are unclimbable often, and they're about a mile high. So just come in from the southern area. It's a lot easier there anyways. The first thing you want to do is get that portal unlocked and set up a temporary makeshift base in that area. Preferably between that level 25 barracks and that portal. Once you've got that done, your ultimate goal is to farm for antidotes. You're going to find crops inside that southern barracks. You're going to need sulfur, phosphate, and once you get antidotes and a little bit of poison resist gear and maybe a new fighter from that barracks, now you can go into the iron cave up on the north. There's lots of iron. It goes really deep, but you really need to get to the bottom of it. There's some really good mods there. There's also a Holy Runes Temple if you just break the vines with a weapon, couple attacks will normally do it, and you'll be able to get more portals that way. You need to make sure that you're getting lots of poison resist here, because next up you're going to want to kill the Fog Frog, and preferably on Berserk as well. He's going to give a lot more material, and that way you can start getting ready to get your Fog Frog's armor sets. Once you've killed him, you want to make sure to clear the northern barracks and then kill the ape boss way up top. There's lots of good minerals in the area, so leaving a active base here isn't a bad idea. You're always going to want to come back here and do things. After the hills, you come to the wetlands just north of that. There's some really good farm spots. You're going to notice the first thing you're going to want to do is start replacing all your crafters from that flint fortress. You do not want to spend time trying to get the warriors, so only go after the dudes with pickaxes, hatchets, and scythes, so that you can only end up with crafting personnel. The 120 stat is still rare, but you're going to find 100 plus is going to be way more common now. You can also get dungeon keys, plant essences, and lots of mods. You're really looking for the heat resistant mod. The armor off of the end boss, you want to use that to gear out your tribesmen, even the ones that are just sitting in your base. You farm all the elite monsters around, you're going to get lots of poison for arrows and lots of leather that you're going to need to craft with. You've got iron, salt, coal, all really good XP here. Make sure you have lots of monkeys and beehives at this point, because you're going to need to make tons of honey as the next area requires it. There's holy runes for portals if you're ready to start doing that. Once you have 3 bosses down, you should have at least 6 portals ready to go. Rare ores and crystals, and then once you've got all that, go ahead and head to the Wastelands. You can go to the volcano after this for even more heat resistant mods, but it's not really necessary. That area is just, it's kind of unnecessary. The only reason you're going to go there is if you're looking for obsidian, so you can make black bricks. But stone, generally, unless you're in a PvP area, stone is good enough. Once you arrive to the Wastelands, you're going to notice that there's going to be a lot of environmental damage. You need to make sure that you have fruit kebabs. There's a soup that you can use. You also want to make sure that you have lots of honey on you at all times. You're going to be popping honeys about every 5 minutes or so. Probably use more than you think. And make sure you have plenty of beehives so that you're not running out of honey for these trips. The first thing you're going to want to do is obviously get all the scout traps. And then you're going to want to put a bonfire with a bed so that you can get your rest back. You're going to find that your rest will deteriorate quite quickly even with the use of lots of honey. You're going to want to be farming that Fang Fortress on the right middle, and make sure to start getting your heat resistance and radiation resistance up, as well as also maybe even getting a new warrior out of there that you can use, because you're going to want to go up north of there to the new Holy Runes Wastelands, and you're going to want to farm a whole bunch of adhesive. That's going to allow you to start making the gear for the Fog Frog and Ape and all the bosses that you want. Their sets are really good. If you hit T and scroll underneath the iron area, I believe, you'll start seeing those boss setups. To unlock those, you just need to kill the bosses on the difficulty required to unlock that set. There's not too much to do here other than just farming lots of mods, and there's some decent iron on the left side, but I feel like you can get that better from the northern hills or southern wetlands. You want to make sure to get a little nitrate as well, just to the right of the Fang Fortress, but for the most part, you're just here to get resistances and then kill that Griffin boss, and then you can go ahead and leave. There's not too much left here. You may want to come back, clear the Holy Runes Temple once or twice, but it's not necessary. Now you've arrived in the snowy area. The first thing you want to do is start farming the Flint Barracks for chill-proof gear and mods. It won't be too cold in this area, but once you pass this up, it will start getting a lot colder. The further you get to the edges, the worse it's going to get. You don't need much at the start, but really you want about 50% chill proof and maybe 20% chill resistance on your characters. And once you're done with that, now you can start trying to look for meteorite ore, crystal ore. You want to be farming that Claw Fortress non-stop for all the gear that drops in there. You'll be looking for double chill proof resistance gear off the Claw Fortress boss. So you'll be killing him a lot, probably more than any other mob in the whole entire game. Once you get a full set of that, with mods as well, that's when you'll be able to start killing the mammoth in the normal mammoth and also berserk mammoth. You want to farm the heck out of the meteorites and crystals. There's going to be a lot of things there. You also at some point want to make sure you go down south and get a snow leopard, due to the fact that your regular animals will die, especially at night, but just in general, they'll be dying a little bit here and there. Snow leopards do not die from cold, so they're perfect for this area. You want to capture a good amount of them so that you're not worried about losing one or two. There's also ice in the middle, just north of the portal, and that way you can freeze your food and whatnot, make it last longer as well. The main thing you're farming is just that Claw Fortress here. Once you're done with that Claw Fortress, you're really close to the end of the game. You want to make sure that you can go back and kill all the bosses that you want to kill on all the difficulties. You want to then start looking and make sure that you've got all the Holy Ruins temples done across all the areas. Once you've finished up the Snowy Mountain area, you're pretty much at the current end games. You want to make sure that you have all your masks that you want unlocked, or just collect them all. There's also trophies to get. You want to finish up your hunting gallery. Lastly, you have the 3 main dungeons, a level 40 dungeon, 50 dungeon, and 60 dungeon. You can knock these out earlier, but these are pretty much the very, very end game. There's not too much to them, but they are timed, and they are kind of a maze. And as you all know, this game is in alpha, so we should see a lot more added to this in-game kind of system that they've got here. And I can't wait. This is really one of the greatest games I think I've played in a very long time. Props to the devs. This game is amazing. And I hope you guys are all having fun with this. Like, subscribe, hit that notify bell for more Soulmask content. Obviously I do other games as well, but for right now, this is just soaking up all my time. I'm having way too much fun. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment down below. I make sure to get to all my commenters as soon as possible. Thanks, man. Have a good day. Bye.